This Xbox Series controller, and this one FlyDigi Direwolf controller. Notice a difference? To be honest, not much on the outside, but FlyDigi pack a lot in this controller. And the best thing is, it is 30 bucks. The controller comes with a simple packaging with all paper and plastic cover. This is a decent way to package with a few plastic waste that easy to recycle. I still love if they skip plastic altogether, but maybe tough request to this manufacturer. Inside you get a controller, the manual, some leaflet, USB-C cable and 2.4 GHz dongle. Body shape profile on this controller is almost exactly Xbox Series controller. From the bottom curve to the trigger design, it nearly one-to-one copy of Xbox Series controller. Surface texture of this controller is smoother than Xbox Series controller, closer to older Xbox One controller. The grip texture on this controller also similar to older Xbox One controller, while Series controller is a lot rougher to the touch. However, a good thing about this, they make the grip from the top to the bottom. For whatever grip type you have, claw grip or palm grip, it will perform as exact as Xbox controller. Overall comfort with the body is pretty good. If you like Xbox Series design, FlyDigi Direwolf will not make you feel awkward. Joystick, oh boy. Joystick on this controller is traditional joystick, and it's freaking good. I'm very impressed with this controller because I expect a lot less with joystick at this price point. Joystick on this controller is manufactured by Favor Union. On some DualSense controller, you can get this joystick, while those on DualSense has 2.3 kilo ohm potentiometer, but this one has 10k port. Great thing about this joystick is it is very well calibrated out of the box. No joke, it was dead end. This Xbox controller is a new controller. I bought it for the purpose of this review. The Elf joystick already off center out of the box. I only need to recalibrate one time because I disassembled it and it was slightly off by 1 to 2%. But once calibrated, it's back to normal. Because it was centered very well, I can set the dead tone to 5% or even less, making it a very sensitive joystick. The joystick also has nearly zero wobble, making it stay consistent at center, unlike my Xbox that wiggle around. The space between the cap and the body is 4.5mm similar height to Xbox. The actual shaft length is slightly longer at 5mm. To have similar height as Xbox controller, it was slightly recessed into the body. If you want to change the cap, better get a longer cap. Don't get Xbox controller cap because you will end up with a shorter stick, especially if you want to add condom. The cap also has similar concave shape like Xbox at 17.6mm diameter, while Xbox has 16mm. It also has similar rubber texture like Xbox controller, but get dirty super fast. After a heavy usage in Apex Legends for about a month, the rubber already started to wear off. So if you want to protect it, put a thumbstick condom early on. The joystick also has POM ring to provide a smooth rotation, while Xbox is, well, scratchy as sandpaper. The trigger type on this controller is Hall sensor trigger. This is actually similar to Xbox trigger system. Their more expensive version, FlyDigi Apex 3, use potentiometer because they replicate DualSense adaptive feedback. Honest opinion, I'm not really a fan of that potentiometer because I knew some DualSense has issue with DualSense trigger, from the spring to potentiometer issue. Ultimately, not many game developers want to pick up Sony standard. Most people turn off this feature in competitive games. The trigger shape also follow Xbox Series controller. There is less than 1mm gap between the bumper and the trigger, but overall, it has no difference to Xbox since the effective length from the bumper to the trigger is still the same. The width also similar to Xbox at 10mm and slope to the side. I much prefer the older Xbox trigger size. However, the older Xbox has more aggressive bottom curve which can hinder certain finger movement. Bumper button also similar to Xbox. It's slightly longer and protruded by few millimeter than Xbox and use micro switch. The reason why the bumper protrude is because this switch has a deeper activation point. It's not as good as Xbox micro switch and it has double clicking issue. For instance, in Genshin I use Ayaka Sprint which require me to keep pressing the right bumper for a long time. A slight movement will remove the actuation before coming back to the click point. For a tapping action, this is not a problem, but for holding action, this can be an issue. ABXY button on this controller is rubber dome, very basic with gamerish font. I'm not a fan of mechanical switch with silicone rubber, considering I have reviewed 2 of those controllers. This one feels exactly like Xbox series controller. Unlike Xbox with clear plastic cap on top, FlyDigi Direwolf only have basic cap. I believe it is a Decal Legends keycap with a polished finish. Start and select button also bigger than Xbox, which make it a lot easier to press, though I prefer their placement at the top like FlyDigi Apex 3. The D-pad, probably the most exciting feature of this controller. At this moment, I want all my controllers to have this D-pad. It has elevated D-pad, unlike Xbox that has on-body D-pad. Most other manufacturers only put longer D-pad cover on top of existing D-pad system and call it a day. But FlyDigi use system which allows the D-pad pivot point to be slightly higher by a few millimeters than regular D-pad. I will not say this is for everyone because it can be too sensitive, especially if you use D-pad a lot for movement. The micro switch also a lot lighter than Xbox controller, hence make the D-pad a lot easier to press, but can contribute to accidental input. For Apex, this D-pad is my favorite. With the increased height and soft press, it is a lot faster to throw grenade with this. The D-pad shape also follow Xbox, which make it a lot easier to feel, but at the same time 2mm wider than Xbox. At this moment, only FlyDigi Apex 3 has similar feature with this, but it costs you 18 to 90 bucks. There is 2 macro buttons. It is big, slightly protruded, and has a good click on it. It has a glossy finish, so it will catch your hand dirt, but overall, good placement choice. To customize the controller, you need to download FlyDigi PC Space from their website. Downside of it, you need to install it. Not really a fan installing a software that you only use perhaps only at the start of the purchase. There are few functions available in the suite, depend on which mode you are using. I will cover only PC because that is my main platform. You can directly configure the controller via 2.4 GHz wireless or USB cable. For firmware upgrade, it's only support wired connection. Inside the software, you can have 4 separate profiles, which later you can long press select button plus A, B, X or Y to choose. On Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz, you can choose X input or D input by long press the O button plus A for direct input and X for X input. D input will have blue light while X input white light. It also has specific mode for switch and iOS, where in iOS it will be detected as Xbox controller. All buttons except 2 at the bottom can be mapped to all clickable buttons except the power and mode buttons. It also allows you to map to keyboard buttons and mouse button. You can also record macro limited to controller press and fine-tune it in the software. Joystick depth zone and sensitivity curve also available for customization. For the gyro, you can have it turn on and off or using any of the button as on-off switch. Best about gyro is you can customize gyro sensitivity, something that many other controller maker don't include. Gyro on this controller is quite accurate and perhaps the best I experienced so far, but I'm not a gyro user and much prefer manual control. Plus, turning it on and off quite a hassle since most of the button already used up in the games. So you either set the gyro in a separate profile or set the on-off switch on the controller button. You also can set the trigger active range but not the sensitivity curve. Overall, lot of customization option that I think is more than enough to many people. Vibration on this controller is not really details. 8-bit Duke Ultimate, my main controller, has more details. In Apex, when dropping down from dropship, you can feel the tiny vibration on 8-bit Duke but not on FlyDigi. Same thing with Xbox controller. I can feel a lot more subtle vibration but not with FlyDigi. Small explosion or heartbeat feel a bit rough. Medium strength perhaps the best for me, but on full strength you get similar strength to Xbox series controller. However, I don't feel the details you usually get on Xbox regardless whatever mode I pick. My assumption is due to less weight balance difference and less motor strength. It feels the basic need of haptic feedback, but it is a subpar experience. Pairing this controller to 2.4 GHz is annoying. I need to find a pin to press the pairing switch on the dongle while it's connected to the PC. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But once you succeeded, you are good to go. Upgrading firmware on the controller and the dongle also pain in the ass. It's probably the most complicated process to upgrade a firmware. I have the trouble of connecting the controller back to the dongle after upgrade, and it took me 3 hours before it started connecting back to the dongle. I thought I might have break the 2.4 GHz dongle. Honest opinion, don't upgrade your firmware unless you actually have a problem with this controller. Wake up time is about 10 minutes to conserve its 450 mAh battery. Small battery also means it has less weight than regular Xbox. I game on it in a pack straight from full battery for about 9.5 hours on 2.4 GHz wireless before it start begging for more power. This was on medium strength vibration with a game that has very few vibration events. This long hour battery come at a cost, which is performance. It hit hard on this one. FlyDigi Direwolf performance is the worst aspect of this controller. Although there is an improvement in performance after firmware update, it's still not a major improvement as seen from both before and after on Bluetooth connection. Perhaps a lot worse since I get increased in triple latency at 18 to 90 milliseconds. 2.4 GHz is a lot more stable than Bluetooth, but it doesn't have a consistent performance like Xbox controller. Barely 70% of the latency hit 125Hz mark, unlike above 90% on Xbox. Overall, on wireless performance, you get 10 millisecond latency. Wired is also similar where it ending the overall latency to 10 milliseconds. If you overclock the polling rate to 500Hz or higher, it will give out consistent 10 millisecond polling rate. For me, 90% to 125Hz. Like Xbox controller is my minimum standard with PC gaming. If FlyDigi add an option for double A battery like Xbox or a bigger battery option, it will serve this controller a lot better. Disassembly of this controller is not easy, despite that there is only 6 screws under the hood and none under the sticker. Mind that the serial number on the sticker easily wear off after a week or 2. Opening the controller will be tough because they purposely add a double-sided tape between the battery and the back cover. Why? The tape is freaking strong. Under the hood, you can see 450 mAh battery. This is easily replaceable if not for the double-sided tape. It is a generic lithium-ion battery, hence it is upgradable. 1000 mAh costs $2, so you can easily replace this if not for the double-sided tape. There only one board, which is quite impressive how much they cram into a single PCB on both sides. As previously said, the DPad construction on this controller is quite a unique feature. They pivot the DPad higher on 2 rings, allowing the DPad to move around in a constricting 360 degree. It's almost similar to Joystick but with a tighter space. Overall, very good construction except double-sided tape. Durability of this controller is probably less than a year because of micro switch with double click issue, small battery and degraded joystick cap. Micro switch and battery is easily replaceable, but joystick cap, you need a slightly long shaft stick. Because it uses a traditional joystick, over time it will degrade. You will need to replace it sooner or later up to a point. If you break anything other than this, it's almost impossible to repair. This is easily explained by FlyDigi confidence on their own controller. They only give 6 months warranty on this controller. Heavily used, something must break at least a year. Even in a month, I already get degraded cap. But on the good side of it, this controller is perfect for someone who likes to mod controller. Price wise, for $30, it is an extremely good purchase. The closest third-party controller that can match this punch-wise is ABXY Pro 2, which was released 2 years ago. If FlyDigi released this 2 years back, it will be head-to-head with ABXY Pro 2. There is only 2 versions of this controller. One is waifu version and another is this grey version. Not much choice over here, but considering how easy it is to mod this controller, you can paint whatever color you want over it. In conclusion, FlyDigi pack a lot for $30 controller that usually you can find only at $50 price point. It is back to basic controller with no frills or gimmicky features. I think more people will be more satisfied to have this controller than FlyDigi $100 controller. I will not recommend this as a main controller or recommend this to any competitive gamers. It is much suitable for casual people, or you just need to buy a waifu controller for your waifu. If you want to have a good controller to play around for customization, this is a very good controller to start with. Pro: tons of customization in 4 profiles, 2 back buttons, multiple connection of Bluetooth, wired and 2.4 GHz, lightweight, easy DIY candidate, hybrid elevated D-pad, well-calibrated joystick, Xbox style design with classic Hall sensor trigger, decent battery time, and it's also cheap. The con: small battery, so the Xbox, no option for Xbox and PlayStation, and double-sided tape. So that's all about it. This script is so freaking long, I want to vomit now. If you like what you saw, please hit like and subscribe because it helps motivate my lazy ass to torture myself to keep making this kind of video. And perhaps comment down below on your thoughts. I'm a shy guy and I'm scared of the outside world. Bye.